Hello everyone, welcome back to A Joyful Scrapper. This is Amanda. Today we're going to be playing along with sketch number 2 from Christy's Beautiful Lives, the best of 30 days of sketches. I'm going to be using this kit from Bella Boulevard. It's called Dad Style, and I just adored that shoe paper right there that I just held up, and I had the perfect picture to use along with that. So I just grabbed a few things also from the kit, and then that one background paper right there that I'm holding, that's just from a giant paper pad that I've had for several months, and I thought it just went really well with the colors in the kit. But as you can see, that's my son. He was all dressed up and playing his guitar before we went to his graduation ceremony a couple of weeks ago. And he was wearing a pair of dress shoes, which is why I fell in love with that shoe paper. And of course, for him, those dress shoes just were the most uncomfortable, awful thing. But I just thought he looked adorable, dressed all up and wearing those shoes while playing his guitar. So I knew that that paper was the one that I wanted to focus on for this page. In the sketch, there are a couple of triangle, like very strong triangle elements there. So I decided to take the striped paper that you see there and then the shoe paper and kind of make those into those triangle elements. I'll put my picture somewhere around that area when we get to it. But the first thing I wanted to do is just to make sure that I tacked down these triangles together. And then I had an idea of something I wanted to do. It was kind of based off from the shoes again. And I was really focusing on the laces of the shoes. For some reason, they really stood out to me, and I kind of wanted to highlight that in this page. So what I thought about doing was taking this hemp twine that I've had for years upon years and doing some kind of design here on this triangle part of the papers to just kind of mimic shoelaces, I guess you could say. I started off by just using my little sharp pokey tool to put holes in the paper. You're not going to have to watch all of this. I will skip ahead in just a moment. There we go. And as you can see, I made 2 lines of holes there to run this twine through. I had it all in my head about how I wanted to do it, and I thought it would be pretty simple. And it was, but it took me a little bit of time to kind of figure out exactly how I needed to thread the twine through to get the look that I wanted. I also wasn't really thinking about the fact that hemp twine comes apart pretty easily, especially when it's fitting through a tight space. So you're going to see me struggle a little bit here and there right at the beginning as I try to fish this twine through each of the holes that I made. I didn't quite make them big enough at the beginning, so there I go, trying to make them a little bit bigger in order to fit it through. It kept wanting to tear apart on me, so that's why I had to make them bigger. And at this point, I started looking at it and I thought that it didn't really seem proportionate enough. And I was trying to figure out how to make it look exactly how I wanted. And then I just realized that, oh, I don't need to use that very first hole there. That's what's kind of screwing up my angle. And so I decided to just thread it through the next one down. And after I play with it a little bit and try to figure out how to get that through again, I had to keep cutting the end off. But once I get it through there, I realized that this is exactly where I wanted it to be, and it was going to emulate the shoelaces just the way that I wanted it to. So I'm going to go ahead and I'll show you just a couple of the ways that I thread these through. And then what I figured out after a little while was I just needed to make the holes a little bit bigger. So once I turn off the camera and come back, you're going to notice that I took my hole punch. I had kind of a medium-sized hole punch. I had a really small one, a normal-sized one, and a medium-sized one. And so I take the medium-sized hole punch and I went through and just punched those holes bigger, and that worked a lot easier. Another tip I can give you if you want to be using this type of twine that likes to tear apart is you can wrap the ends with like washi tape or just regular Scotch tape if you want to, and then it makes it kind of hard like the end of a shoelace, and it's much, much easier to thread it through. That was another thing I did off camera, was I decided that I needed to make this go quicker. So I wrapped those ends, and that made it much easier to thread it through. So here we see I'm almost done. You can see on the back that we just have kind of straight. If you wanted that look on the front, you could do that instead if you preferred it. I wanted the crisscross look of threading those through, so I just did it all that way. And to me, it just kind of looks just a little bit like a tied shoe. So I was pretty happy with the way that that turned out. In order to hold it down in the back, I did tie it off with a knot, but just to make absolutely sure, I took a piece of washi tape and just kind of stretched it along the big part here, and then another little piece across the knot just to make sure it didn't come up or get snagged on anything when I went to put it down. So because this is there's so much on the bottom there, I had to compensate from that. So I decided to put the bottom half of this up on just some really skinny foam strips. I just got these from Amazon. I love them. They work really, really well for things like if you're going to do a shaker pocket or anything that's really skinny. Those are my favorite go-to strips for the foam. And they're really easy to use. You can cut them off. You can curve them around letters. You'll see me do that later on with this page as I just kind of curve it around on my title. So it's really, really useful. If you want those, you can find them on Amazon. You just search for, I guess, foam crafting strips, and they should come up. So what I had here, there was another page in the Dad Style kit, and it was a page with like different size cut aparts here or cards. And I really liked the yellow on this card because I don't know if you can see it very well, but the guitar strap that my son has around his neck is a really bright yellow. And so I wanted to pull that out a little bit of the photo, seeing as there is some yellow. It's more of a mustardy yellow on the page, but I really wanted to pull that yellow out. I thought that it would be nice to showcase that. So I wanted to use that card there as one of the mats for the picture. What you see me doing now is I'm messing around a little bit with this card that says handsome, and it's got one of the shoes on it. My original idea was to have that card and the photo take the place of the two photos that is on the sketch. But as I continued to play with it, I kept thinking I just didn't like how it looked. I think it might be because one was vertical and one was horizontal, and I just didn't like how they looked together. So I decided to kind of put that aside, think about if I could use it in a different way later, I would come back to it. But I was going to focus on my photo. So here I am just getting a few mats down. I'm using a little bit more of that striped paper that's in one of the triangles and just kind of pulling that in and focusing around the photo as well. So the title I'm going to use is one of the plastic titles I got from one of my Not Just for Boys kit club. I got it from the a la carte section, and I just love these things. They're just so fun to use. They add a lot of dimension and just interest. I loved the fonts that were on it, so I decided that I was going to use that. If you can't read it, it reads, "Gosh, you're awesome." And I think my kid is awesome, especially since he's standing there in his, dressed up garb, but he's got his, guitar, and he's playing Metallica and Green Day and all kinds of things as we stand there waiting to go to graduation. And I just remember looking at him and taking that picture and just thinking, man, my kid is so cool. So when I saw that "Gosh, you're awesome" title, I knew that that's what I needed to use with this layout, with whatever layout I made for this picture. Okay, so I am bound and determined to use this shoe. I'm in love with this shoe for some reason, and so I cut it out, and I needed to use it on the page. I can't tell you why. It was something I needed to do. So I went ahead and I cut apart that card. I took the handsome, so now it reads, Gosh, You're Awesome, Handsome. And I think that that is a great title for this page. And then I'm bound and determined to use that shoe. Just wait, I'll bring it back later on. I just got to kind of figure out what I want to do here beforehand. So, yeah, I'm going to get to that, and I will get there soon. At the moment, I'm still kind of just playing around with it, trying to decide. You'll see me doing that quite a bit in this page. I had a lot of stuff set aside to use for this page. I ended up hardly using anything that I had set apart because it was enough by the time I got done. What I have right there are some actually pretty cool, clear mixed media stickers that I got from one of my hipkitclub kits. I had never used them before. If you've watched some of my past videos, you know that I love mixed media. And so I never just really felt the need to use the mixed media stickers, but I ended up getting them in one of my kits, and I decided, let's give it a shot. So I'm just putting a few of them here and there in different places to maybe highlight the picture, to have something for that title to sit on. And I just used a few of them. One thing I will warn you about those is once you put it down, you cannot pick it back up again. I tried on the yellow one. I wasn't quite sure I liked it. I tried to pull it back up. No, it's not going to come up. That thing stuck like cement. So beware if you're using those clear stickers, the mixed media stickers. Once you place it down, it's going to be there. So make sure you want it there before you put it there. Okay, so now I'm just going to get all of my mats stuck down and my photo in place. I kind of have an idea at this point of where I want the main parts of the layout. I mean, really, the main part of the layout is pretty much done already with the background. All of those things, the shoe paper, the striped paper, and then the shoelaces. I'm just going to call them shoelaces because that's what they are to me. That's the main focal point of my whole piece. I just really, really had that in the back of my mind that that's what I wanted to do. And so I focused mostly on that and not as much on the embellishing, as you can see. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to get everything kind of in place that I want with the title here. And I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to tack down my photo in just a moment. There we go. I started off first just kind of tacking down the corner because I knew I was going to have to put some foam underneath the other side. Since it's laying on top of that hemp twine, I knew I was going to need some dimensional foam down there in order to make it lay flat enough so that it wasn't looking all funky on the page. So that's what I'm doing now, is just getting everything stuck into place for the photo. And then I can start working on getting that title down where I want it, and then coming in with a few last embellishments. Okay. I really, really wanted to use that tie up there. I wanted to cut it out and use that tie. It said something like, "Doesn't this shirt make me look like a dad?" And I just thought it was hilarious because the shirt my son is wearing and the tie he is wearing are his father's. We didn't feel like we wanted to buy him a shirt and tie because it is so not his style. He complained about having to wear that to begin with. So I just thought it would be fun to put that tie on there, but I just didn't really find a good spot for it. It just didn't work out in the end for me to use it. So I'll use it on something else at some point. So there you see me putting down the title. As you could see, I put the dimensional foam behind that as well. I had the little like top left hand side of the title piece was up on the photo, so I really needed some dimension to keep it level. So I did use a little bit of that foam, and as you could see, it's really easy to kind of curve it around the letters. So it's just a great product. So if you want something like that, definitely check out Amazon to get that. Okay, here I go. I'm going to fit my shoe there. I've decided that that's where it's going. I roughed it up a little bit just to make it not look so, neat and tidy, because that's just not who I am. And so I'm going to go ahead and just get these things in place so I can do a few little last minute decorating, and then we'll be done with this page. It really wasn't a lot to this. Honestly, the thing that took me the longest were the shoelaces. Obviously, that took quite a while to get those in place and to figure out the best method for getting them there. And I'm really happy with them now that I'm done with them. And so we're just going to there's my shoe. We got that stuck down. I had to have that buddy in there. And then these two little cards here, I had cut out of that same piece where I used the yellow card behind the picture and the card with the tie on it, same as the one with the shoe. And I loved that one there that says, "You're so dapper." It just fit the whole mood of the whole thing. So even though I don't necessarily love that it's a giant square, I loved it so much that I used it anyway. I had a hard time finding some other things that I wanted to use. I really liked that one that I just held up that had the books on it. I forget the saying on it now, but it had something about moving forward or taking the next step or starting a new chapter. I think that's what it said, start a new chapter. I really wanted that, but it just didn't seem to fit in with the aesthetic I had going on here. But I do like these chipboard flare. I use a couple of those here. I tucked them in. I forgot what they both said at the moment. You guys can probably read them. I can't see them at the moment. Well, actually I can. Hold on. One said perfect and one said you are a star. So I thought those worked very, very well with this layout. As you can see, I'm bound and determined to fit that little guy in there, the "You're so dapper." At some point in this, it might have been just then, my phone died. So I don't think we missed too much of what I was doing, thankfully, when my phone died, because I did do a few things and then it was just off. So I had to come back and finish it up. This sticker page came with the Dad Style kit from Bella Boulevard, and I'm just looking through to find a few little phrase stickers that I can use. It was a little tough because most everything was about being a dad, and obviously my son is not a dad, but there were a few cute little stickers that I found there that I could use. The first one I put on says legendary, and I thought went really well with him standing there playing his guitar. The next one said tough, because he is a rather tough kid. He wrestled all through high school, so I do think of him as being pretty tough. And then the one I tucked behind that just kind of sticks out above the legendary reads amazing. And this little shoe circle sticker, I love this shoe circle sticker, and I was looking for a place to put it at that point, and I didn't find it quite yet, but don't worry, it'll be coming back. I loved it enough that I needed that on my page. I just needed a minute to think about where I wanted it and where I could fit it on the page. Right there, I just put a little arrow that reads "My Hero" on the side, because all my kids are my heroes, so all of them get a My Hero sticker whenever I can find one and fit one on the page. At this point, I'm going to come back to that yellow sticker in just a minute. I'm thinking about it and trying to figure out if there's anything else that I can put there, but there's so much dad stuff that's just not going to work. So I know that I'm pretty much done here, but I'm going to take that little yellow sticker again, and I'm going to find him his home here up on the top. There we go. He's going to sit right there, right where I put him about the first time and then took him off. But now I have decided I like him there, and that's where I want him to be. All right, so here we are toward the end. I am going to be using, of course, some of my Shimmerz Inklings in the color I Love You Onyxly. And I'm just going to add some splatters to kind of finish this page up. Y'all know me by now and know that I like my page to not be very perfect. I like it to be dirtied up at the end or grungied up, however you want to say it. So I'm going to go ahead and add a bunch of splatters to this. This is a really nice color. Depending on how much water you put in it, you can get kind of just this sparkly light charcoal color, or it can look pretty black if you get it a little more thick and less water. So depending on what you want, it just depends on how much water you add to it. I wanted a little of both, so I added a little of both. And there we have the end of the page. I hope you guys enjoyed watching, and I hope you were inspired, at least in some little way. And I will see y'all next time. Bye for now. See you later.